Hello, Capricorn friends. Welcome to January 2026, our new year, launching right into Capricorn season in a big way, where one conversation that's unexpected can change it all. I'm going to give you all of the information you need to make this the best start of your year possible, including a sequence of dates with amazing aspects for you to do whatever important you have to do to make the most of the potentials in this time when everything is flowing forward. It will truly feel like a new year. This report is for you if Capricorn is your sun sign, your moon sign like me, your rising sign, or any other Cap placement you're listening for. What I'm going to talk about here is part of your astrological picture. Very late degree Capricorn friends, so birthdays like January 15th through the rest of the sign, or 23 degree Capricorn placements through the rest of the sign. I suggest you additionally listen to my Aquarius report, as you Capricornius friends will benefit from both readings. Okay, so we've got a very, very interesting month. We've got a massive amount of Capricorn. I'm just going to give you a couple of highlights before I dive into layering in what to expect this month and what you can do with all of these potentials. We've got Mercury, the conversation bringer, moving into Capricorn right at the beginning of the month, joining Juno, Venus, the Sun, Mars, Estrella, and Vesta, and the new moon on January 18th in Capricorn into this massive, massive, massive Capricorn party. We don't always have so many planets in one sign at once. This is a major, major beginning to your new year. This is a major beginning to your new solar cycle if it's been your birthday in the Capricorn time frame. So it's all very exciting. And I do have a ton that I want to tell you about that. But there are some other things that I want to address first to sort of lay the groundwork for what we're working with this month. First, one of the most important things to know is as of December 17th and running all of January through February 12th, we are launching the new year with no personal planet retrogrades. Okay, so Mercury, Venus, Mars, not going. Are we in a shadow period for those planetary movements, which means that all of the green lights are up. So we're going to have a lot of zest. And actually, while I'm thinking about it, one very important admin thing that I did not tell you is, hello, welcome, old friends. If you've listened to my reports before, if you're new to my channel, welcome. I have been an astrologer for over 23 years and a teacher for almost all of that time. So we're going to talk about not only what to expect this month, but also why. Okay, so we're doing the what's and the whys. I'm going to give you a lot of very important dates. I'm starting with this cluster right here. But if you want more dates or you're not in a place where you can write this down, because you will want to write this down in your calendar, then just head in another window right now to anniehelpsyou.com. Grab your free star report that I make with the sweet and salty dates, going in a lot of depth where you can have all of this written, where you don't have to take notes and you can get the highlights there. Okay, and also I'll give you additional information beyond what we talk about here. Okay, so back to this first date, speaking of which. This is with the tides going out. Okay, so if you follow my tidal analogies where you are on the shore when the retrogrades were happening, which we just stepped out of December 17th, things were going inward and backwards, but now, and that means you have to wait on the shore to let things come to you, because if you tried to push them out, the tides will bring them back to you. But now we're in that time where it's time to get your boats afloat. The tides are going out. Everything you put on them will travel further and wider. Massive amount of long-term strategic focus with Capricorn. All of the energy is saying go. And you've got this beautiful window from December 17th to February 12th where all those personal planets and their shadow periods are not in any retrograde phase. Okay, so this is a very important umbrella under which everything we're going to talk about for this month is taking place. So all of this action-oriented stuff, and it will be very, very action-oriented because Capricorn is massively ambitious, and all of the Capricorn planets for Capricorn in this solar chart that we've got here for the horoscope go through the Aries first house, which is the most action-oriented of the zodiac, forward moving. So yeah, this is a time for your big decisions, your big purchases and sales and investments and engagements and weddings and big steps and contracts and moves and business launches. you've got it all here. And I will give you some really great dates for if you've got certain special things that you want to do, but the whole month has this forward movement. The next very important thing to know, a premise on which everything that I'm going to be talking about will fit under as another umbrella, is that we are building into the next eclipse season. And as this month progresses, we are entering eclipse season. February 17th, we have a new player in the eclipse game starting an Aquarius Leo eclipse cycle that will begin now and go into early 2028. Brand new cycle activating your financial sectors, your money versus other people's money, shared resources, investments, spousal money, family money, plus your earned income, your sustainability with finances. All of that's going to start to get activated. February 17th, we start this multiple year eclipse cycle of Aquarius and Leo with the solar eclipse at 28 degrees of Aquarius. Okay, so this is going to activate that personal finance and income sector for you. And even though it's February 17th, there is a 4 to 6, sometimes 8-week window before the eclipse where things start to get active. News comes in, opportunities come in, ambition comes in, decisions are up to be made. Okay, so we have to talk about them now, even though the eclipses will be in February and March. Now, March 3rd, we've got the lunar eclipse at 12 degrees of Virgo, continuing the Virgo Pisces eclipse cycle that started in 2024 at the end and will go into 2027. And those have been accentuating your teaching and learning and educating and speaking and your voice and your expression and your movement and your mobility and information coming in and information going out and your international business sector and publishing and writing and speaking. All of that is going to come for another round of getting supercharged as information and situations get all flip-flopped around and energy moved all over the place. And you will start feeling that in January. Okay, so everything we're going to talk about is also through this lens of this impending, deepening eclipse cycle with these big rhythms at play. One other thing I want to say about the new eclipse cycle is that the last time it happened was early 2017 into early 2019. Okay, so think about back then. Also think about 2008, early 2008 through the end of 2009. That was when it happened before. So think about the types of changes in your financial scene that you saw in those times. Your financial relationships, how you earned money, all of that story. And you may see repeating patterns that come back, or just those arenas of your life again coming up to be highlighted and transformed. If something bad happened then, it doesn't mean it will happen again now. If you learned lessons in those time periods, you may be benefiting from the difference in direction that you made from that pivot. Because a lot of things were going on then that are not going on now. And things are going on now that were not going on then. So we're not going to have an identical replication of the stars in these cycles. Just the themes having to do with your financial, mental, emotional, spiritual, romantic resources going in to have more healing, karmic enhancement, and more empowerment. Okay, so all of this is going on. Big cycles, important things. And now I want to dive back into the movement of these personal planets that are pretty fast, more superficial in a way, more local to this month or this period of time, as we're under these umbrellas of these bigger storylines. Okay. So we've got the Capricorn picture. So you've got these big changes, these decisions that might be coming up. And as I had mentioned before, Mercury bringing an unexpected conversation that could change everything, could change the direction, or unexpected news, or something coming in that could have even been expected or you've been working on, and the information finally comes in. News and information is going to play a very big role here, and you will see your phone, your email, in-person visits be lit up with things that can actually change everything at this time. So it's a very big deal. And all of it has to do with you revitalizing your identity, who you are, how you walk in the world, how people know you. You could be adding facets to who you are, or you could be in a process of changing the big game of what all of this looks like. Now, as these planets bring up the Capricorn storylines, here are some things you can expect and best uses of these movements. Okay, so Mercury will bring those conversations. It could bring more clear self-expression. The eclipse cycle in the third house is very much relating to the that Pisces Virgo eclipse cycle. It's very much related to your clear expression, and Mercury in Capricorn here wants to bring that out in a practical way. Practical mindset, serious conversations about your identity, direction, what you want to do, and how people can support you, or just informing people the direction you're going. Some of the best uses of these energetics have to do with updating your personal messaging or your bio. If you want to revamp your the places where you interface with others, this is a great time for that. Stepping into a place of deeper authority, making big decisions that define those steps, and the communication that goes along with that. Juno here is bringing commitment to your relationship with yourself. Saturn ruling Capricorn. Saturn is your ruler from your Cap placement perspective. And Juno here is speaking to the seriousness of commitment. And it has a lot to do with other people. But the biggest story here is your commitment to yourself. What are you going to do differently for yourself? Higher standards in your relationship with yourself, in your relationship with others. The discussion of loyalty and reliability. Most people with Cap placements are pretty reliable. Unless you have something else in your chart that makes this different, Cappies are some of the most reliable people because we really, really take that responsibility factor very seriously and that accountability factor very seriously. So this is a process of clarifying what relationships mean to you and redefining the commitment agreements. Venus here is going to bring magnetism. If you need photos taken for your work, if you want photos taken for fun, your personal magnetism will be off the charts. So if you need to receive something from someone, have an important conversation, have a sales pitch, have a promo, have something, your personal magnetism will be especially strong at this time. You'll have a chance for things that you're doing to be in the limelight. You may redefine your look, your brand, your presence, your wardrobe, your hair, something like that. You may be polishing your image, presenting yourself in a different way, and inviting the next level of high quality connections that really support the you that you're becoming. The sun here has to do with your personal authority and how that's rising and how that is entering a new phase. This has to do with leadership. It has to do with visibility and owning your story and owning your new direction. Mars is here as an initiator, initiating these personal cycles, claiming something different, focusing your ambition, high physical energy, and possibly resolution of issues with physical mobility or other problems there. It's a time to take decisive action, and you will be very focused on yourself, your health, and all of these other arenas I've been listing. Another really great use to have Mars, we only get Mars in our sign for a few months every couple of years, unless there's a retrograde cycle that brings it in longer. But when we do have it there, we're able to really focus on the things that speak our language. So the Capricorn language gets this ambition of Mars, and Mars rules the first house, which is where it's moving through for Capricorn. So there's some extra zest there. And there is a lot of energy about long-term things as well, personal goals and things like that. Estrella here is looking at topics of integrity and fairness and healing, and picking up on the journey of self-discovery and healing where you might have left off prior. Vesta here has to do with very deep self-devotion and devotion to your goals and your plans. It's also, all of this is working like an anchor to get you more into yourself and your desires and what you want and what you need and what you want to do moving forward. Okay, now we're going to add another layer to this whole picture, because as all of these planets, well, not all of them will cross to the late degrees of Capricorn, but most of them will. And as they do, they're going to, bam, opposed Jupiter in the 7th house. So let's add in the story of Jupiter in the 7th house and the story of Jupiter, period. Jupiter is the great expander. It expands everything it touches. It brings growth and optimism and more layers to wherever it is. And so from June 2025 through almost July of 2026, it's working on expanding your personal relationships, making the ones you have deeper, doubling down on committing to certain ones that you've discerned are, really investing in you, and you're going to reinvest in them, or someone who you are not giving up hope on, that you really feel like you need to continue putting energy into. Jupiter now in retrograde may see some of the work you've been doing over the last several months start to show up in the form of closer relationships and enhancements in relationships. And you're moving through a cycle of expansion in your relationship space and in your home and family, because that's the sign it's moving through, and your housing, etc. But what's going to happen this month is we're going to have a series of oppositions with these Cap planets, Cap and Cancer, home versus work, personal ambitions versus family ambitions, personal space and healing versus the family needs. So you will feel that push and pull, and there will be a tendency to overcommit. You will be riled up. You will be feisty from all of the planets moving through the 1st house. You will want to say yes to everything. And when you do that, you will get super stressed. So remember this month, extra yeses mean extra stresses. Okay. It just came to my mind, but it really is exactly what it will be like. You'll be ready to say yes to things. And then you'll suddenly realize, oh gosh, overcommitted, now super stressed when you didn't need to be, and that vitality that you had bursting out of yourself will start to get that tension again. So just be really careful and do yourself a huge favor this month, especially the first half of the month, because the first half of the month is when most of the salty aspects are, and a lot of those salty aspects have to do with these oppositions. Okay, so it really is about overdoing, overcommitting, and burning yourself out. So what may happen is, as you're facing these things in the first half of the month, as we move into January 14th through the rest of the month, that's when the sweet aspects really soar. Okay, so I promised I would give you some more very important dates. So the 17th through the 22nd of January, we've got a massive amount of amazing aspects as these Capricorn placements come and make a 60-degree angle to these Pisces planets transiting North Node, Saturn back in Pisces, and Neptune back in Pisces. Okay, so all of these planets pretty much, not 100% of them, most of them, Mercury, Juno, Venus, the Sun, Mars, actually Juno won't do it until February, Vesta, probably Estrella. I don't have that ephemeris right here. But basically most of these Cap planets are going to then come and make aspects at least to Saturn and Neptune. Some of them will also make aspects to the transiting North Node, which is your areas of highest expression this lifetime. 60-degree angle is the angle of opportunity, super sweet angle, accentuating this 3rd house that is also getting accentuated by the Pisces Virgo eclipses that have to do with teaching and learning and educating and taking information in and putting it out and, interacting with other people and your social world. So I'm going to put the dates of January 14th through January 25th on the radar for this sweet flow, because a few days before the first aspect and a few days after the last one, there is, an orb of energy. So there's just, if you have to do something important, this is one of the best times probably of the whole year to actually do really important things. Okay. So if you're ready to do it and you have your ducks in a row, this could be an amazing launch time or doing something else important. It's very unusual to have so many sweet aspects in a row. But because Saturn and Neptune are conjunct, all the ones that come here, once they get up to the 26, 29 degree rate point, which will happen as the month progresses, then they'll just be bam, 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 all these sweet aspects in a row. And then, of course, like I said, even the beginning of the month starts with Venus making a sweet aspect to transiting North Node, which helps you figure out what the heck you're doing and what your highest expression is, and bringing some really good money and romantic luck also. So it's really exciting. And the whole second half of the month is really covered in all of this. So some of the things you may see happen from these connections is ideas flowing into plans. Okay, we talked about this, this world of action really coming into play. So you'll see that communication may feel spiritually guided. You'll see new learning paths opening up. Siblings or neighbors or other relatives may play a very important or supportive role, or you may support them in a way that feels fulfilling. Confidence can be boosting your voice. Is very much about your voice. Conversations, like I mentioned before, a conversation could change everything, can also be involved in deepening your sense of purpose, which can be why everything changes. And of course, with all of the Pisces energy and the Capricorn energy, we're looking at intuition blending with logic in a very magical way. So you may turn out to speak with more confidence, to turn intuitive ideas into practical action, or to write or teach or communicate more openly, more effectively, more from the heart, but yet in a structured way too. Initiate new learning. Launch a book. If you are waiting to launch your book, so these dates are some of the best in the year. Really, really, really good. Also following any kind of creative impulse through structured planning. Okay, so it's a beautiful blend of worlds here, the ethereal and the practical. Something else going on in this relationship sector, and this is really actually the first week of the month, January 3rd, but in the days building up to it and then after it, we've got the full moon at 13 degrees of Cancer. It's a super moon as well. It'll be closer. We'll be feeling that. It's a water moon, so it'll be more emotional, bringing things to fullness, completion, fruition in the home, in the housing, in the family, in your inner world of some sort, in a housing project or real estate matter. Secrets could come out. Things you've been working on could come out into the open. Behind the scenes things can launch into the outward realm. Partnership patterns may become undeniable, so you can reach a healing point. Something in a relationship reaches a climax or clarity or breakthrough. You may have some sort of emotional truth that surfaces between you and someone else. Some kind of old relational wound can bubble up to be healed. It's in a fantastic time, that first week of the month, New Year's and on, to have this honest, heart-centered, relationship-focused conversation. The conversation word keeps coming up because it really is very prominent this month for you. Something else you can do is work on releasing old expectations of yourself and others and updating those expectations or those parameters. It's amazing for strengthening boundaries and stepping away from draining patterns. Now, as the month progresses, we are also going to have, after these beautiful aspects that I've been talking about, at the end of the Capricorn degrees, planets are going to start joining Pluto and Pallas Athena in Aquarius. Okay, so as that happens, all those planets are going to flood your house of personal finances. And I already mentioned there's a longer term story that is getting activated between now and almost 2028 with the eclipses that are beginning. So there's some more superficial, fast moving levels of focus in your financial sector, your personal income, the way you spend money, the way you budget, your experience of the material. All of that is coming into focus, coming into the light, ideas, solutions, actions, experiments, conversations about earnings and spending and material items, your relationship with the earth and environmental types of endeavors. So we've got a long-term focus there with Pluto, still another 20 years or so. And then we've got this shorter term focus as all the planets move through Aquarius. And this tends to happen at this time of year when at least some of the personal planets get into Aquarius. This time we have more at once, it seems. But yeah, very, very, very strong. And then it's going to be backed up by these bigger punches. Punches not necessarily meaning bad, but like something packing a punch as far as importance with your financial sector. Okay, so I've given you a lot of important dates. Remember to go to AnnieHelpsYou.com to pick up that free monthly written star report. with the sweet and salty dates and the written summary focus for January. I always put those out a month early, so you can pick that up, and I have the other ones in the archives at anniehelpsyou.com. If you want to see what is ahead for 2026 with the retrograde and your planning calendar, I always talk about the tides coming in and out and what you could do with those energies. I do it a year out when you register for my secret star portal, which you can also find at anniehelpsyou.com, or you can search organically for Annie Botticelli Secret Star Portal online. If you want a personalized series of video reports about where the outer planets are for you and what that means and your exact timelines for those long-term big lessons and opportunities, go to Annie B. Clarity, Annie, the letter B, clarity.com to see my outer planet transit report. And I do also have another awesome report there. And if you want to learn astrology, if part of that education that you are really drawn to and excited about and amped up about is astrology, I can really help you. I've been an astrology teacher for a really long time, and I teach astrology as it is a language. Being multilingual myself, I approach astrology as a language, teaching it from the ground up so that you have amazing fluency where you can help yourself and even others. If you want to earn money as a professional astrologer, the course can also teach you how to do that. So see my astrology certification course at beastropro.com, beastropro.com. I hope you have a wonderful start to your new year. I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.